The way we were educated in the school system is when you got the F, when you failed, you're a loser. You're like not good enough, right? You see that school system mentality is you lost, like you're an idiot, right? However, in the real world, it's failure leads to lessons. That's a very powerful statement. It's impossible to fail as long as you learn something from what you do. That means you can't fail. In a way, there's no such thing as failure. All right, so we're talking about keys to personal power, and one of the things I want to start off is your decision-making process. Decision-making process is essentially everything. I was actually talking to a few potential new clients that we have coming into the group, and it really comes down, making the decision to actually be a part of this group, whether it's financially or just mentally saying, you know what, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to do something that I haven't done that I've been trying to do, right? Have you ever experienced that before? You have something that you're trying to get done and you just really haven't done it yet. Why? Well, have you ever asked yourself why you're procrastinating, why you're putting things off? Well, this is probably going to give you some big insights. We don't have a whole lot of slides, but we have a lot of powerful stuff to cover. So the first thing that everything revolves around, the different results that you want in your life is based on your decisions, okay? Because if you want different actions, if you want something different in your life, you want to live a different life, you have to produce and take action on different things. You can't do the same thing. You can't do what you've been doing to get a different result, okay? If you want to change your income, I'll use income in this example. If all this time in your life you have never, let's just say $100,000, right? If you in the entire time in your life you've never made more than $100,000 in your life, and you're saying to yourself, man, I really want to make $150,000, but I've never made more than $100,000. See, that right there is what I like to call a mental ceiling. It means you've mentally said, this is all I've ever made, and this is probably all I'm ever going to make, and that's it. All in your mind, you will set yourself up for success or failure based on the thoughts that you have and the actions that you take, the decisions you make. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, I had never made more than I think it was $15,000 to $18,000. It was $15,000, which is below poverty line in the United States. And I was that's all I could see for my life. And it wasn't until someone, and we're going to talk a little about this today, about having a role model. It wasn't until someone in my life pushed me to see beyond that amount, right? It was someone who looked at me and said, if that's all you think you're going to make, then that's all you're ever going to get, right? And that's why I always encourage you. I don't have an example here in front of me. I think it's stacked away in one of my folders. But I'll tell you what, I'll never forget the time when I was working at, I had this office job, and I was, working in call centers and whatnot. And I'll never forget, I had a check, it was a blank check that I printed off online. And I had never made $3,000 in one shot, just a $3,000 check. Never made that kind of money before in commission or anything I ever sold. So what I did was I printed out that check and I wrote my name on it. And I wrote $3,000 and I literally posted it. It was right in front of me, right in front of me in my office and my little extra cubicle. And I posted that check there and I said, one day I'm going to hit that $3,000. And I would see that check every day. And you know what? For a while, I think it was over a month for sure. It was 2 or 3 months. That check never happened. I never got that $3,000 check until one day I closed the deal and I got to that point. And I ended up making, I think it was $3,600 or something like that. Anyway, I took that check, I photocopied it, and I always kept that photocopy because it's for me, it was that groundbreaking moment that, when I made that decision to actually do something and to set my mind of belief to get that amount, then, it came true. So it's just a matter of time. So let me show you something else. Remember I asked you guys to do this a few weeks ago, Did you do it, by the way? I hope so. All right, look, it's my vision board. Now, I've had this already done for like months and months, even before I traveled over to the US. And I know we talked about it here in the group, but we never really got around to it, right? That's my fault. So here's my vision board for my desk. Okay, this is not my home vision board or my list. Some of these are actually in my list of things to do, but this is my vision board for my desk here in the office, and it sits like right behind my laptop, and I look at it every time I come in. So anyway, I just want to go over a few things here with you, just to kind of give you an idea of setting it up in your mind and then making the decisions. So, here we have some travel. So I have visit Rwanda, I have visit Vietnam, and, I like to make I like to do podcasting. By the way, if you haven't checked out the podcast recently, we have a new episode out. So get over to the podcast and you can listen to that as well. So this is a podcasting tool, and then I have, more money here, and then I have net worth of 5 million, and then here I have Azores, hotel or rentals. I have that there. So I'll give you an example. And that's from Vietnam as well. But I'll give you an example of this, one of these images right here where it says, hotel rentals and visit Rwanda. So I actually have, some trips coming up, and they may not be on this list, but at least I put it forward. And actually, I might have a trip to Rwanda coming up real soon. Sometimes, and Rwanda is actually not even that far from me, but it's just a matter of having it there, and then it's in your mind. It drips in your mind, and then eventually the opportunity shows up, and boom, you take action, and then it becomes real. So just an example of the Portugal rentals. Again, that's, if you've been following along in what I've been doing, that is something that is happening. Let me make something clear. This was a decision, right? This is a decision to do this, and make a vision board, make something that is real, and it's in front of me. And those things come to fruition. Now, it doesn't mean it just happens overnight. It takes time, especially the bigger the goals you have. Whether you're closing your first deal, your second deal, or your third deal in real estate, if you've closed your first deal, then get into your second one's really important. If you've closed over 3 deals, then guess what? You're trying to go to make this a full-time thing and do real estate full-time, right? So the thing is first you have to start with that belief and that vision with a decision. And that when you make those decisions, it will give you different results. And that's super important because your actions produce, that. So it's the decision followed by those actions will give you those different results, okay? But it all starts with a decision. That's the most important thing. That's your destiny is shaped when you make different decisions. Did you get that right? Your destiny is shaped when you make different decisions. Follow that, write that down, use that. It's so important, okay? Another thing too, what a lot of people think is they wonder about how it's going to happen and how is it going to come to fruition, and they don't have a plan right away. That's okay. You don't need to know exactly how it's happened. Let me give you an example. That trip to Rwanda, for example, is a perfect example where initially when I put it on there, I was like, okay, I have to book a trip, and maybe I'm going to go touring and stuff like that, and maybe I'm going to go in August or something, right? So that was me trying to put it all together already. However, what's coming up is we actually have a potential business client over in Rwanda. So we actually might take a whole trip over there, and that might be my way of getting to see the country. You never really know, but if you don't put the thought there, the belief there, then, it's not really going to happen. So transitioning, I want to give you what I like to call the ultimate success formula. Okay. The ultimate success formula. If you want to, generate success in your life and in your real estate business, you have to first, number one is you have to know your outcome. You have to know exactly what you're going to and what you're going for. First of all, you have to know your outcome. And the reason why you have to know your outcome is you have to know where you're going before you even get there. So this is so important because this encompasses everything about your vision, your mission, the decisions you're making, the actions you're taking. You have to know exactly what you want before it even happens, before it even gets there. Number 2 is get yourself to take action by making the decisions. Deciding. You have to decide. If you don't decide to do it, if you don't jump all in, then it's not going to happen. It's going to happen just periodically. It's going to happen by chance. Or it's going to happen like a hobby. That's what I like to say. Don't let life happen to you like a hobby. Get really serious about it. People treat hobbies on and off. They get around to it. They dabble in it for a little bit. They wish they could, I'll give you an example. I've always loved to make music. It's like a hobby for me. That means I hardly do it. Okay. It's not something I do every day. But I really enjoy it. I enjoy making beats and making music. However, pretty much the only time I do it is maybe when I'm in an airport, on an airplane, something like that, when I'm on a long flight. But it's not on the hierarchy. It's not up there on my needs list, right? So, but if I was, let's say I wanted to become a full-time artist, that should be the top of my priority. So, and that's just by decision making as decisions have made. So here's the thing. Don't treat your real estate business like a hobby. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby, which is close to nothing. It'll just cost you money, right? It'll end up just costing you money. You got to treat it like the business that it is, all right? Number 3 is notice what you're getting from your actions. And this is an important thing. This is really about tracking your results. Tracking your results, knowing the steps you're taking from the decisions that you've made, and track your results, these actions that you've taken. And don't take it for granted, by the way. Little steps should not be taken for granted. You've come a long way. It's like I learned this in running when I had a running coach in the beginning when I started running. I learned one of the biggest things is that, and it's so important too, because I remember it was very difficult for me to go to 3 kilometers. I was like, whoa, how am I going to get to 3 kilometers? I really struggled around 1.5. And one of the things my coach taught me was just worry about the next step. Just focus on the next step. Don't worry about the 3 kilometers. Don't worry about trying to get to 2.5. Don't worry about trying to get to 1.5. Just focus on your next step. And I was like, wow, that was so powerful. I'll never forget that, because that's how life is on our journey. On our journey to success, whatever that is for you, our journey is that. It's the taking that step forward, but also only focusing on that next step. And when you focus on that next step, that's when you get somewhere. That's when you'll actually hit your 1.5 kilometers, your 3 kilometers, so on and so forth, wherever you're trying to. That's when you'll get to your first deal closed. That's when you'll get to your second deal closed. That's when you'll get residual income on a monthly basis, right? So it's that continually taking action and noticing that you're getting results. Just notice the progress. Don't take it for granted. Don't take for granted the small steps that you have taken. That's really important. If what you're not doing is working, then change your approach, okay? If what you're not doing is working, change your approach. I say this all the time to people who are, to my clients, to real estate clients who are working on selling property. If they're not getting the phone to ring, if people are not calling in from the letters they're sending out, if they're not calling in from the marketing they're doing online or offline, yard signs or whatever, then they need to change their approach. I'll give you an example. I have 2 clients that are in South Carolina for real estate coaching. They're both in South Carolina, but they're both in 2 different cities. And I told them both to do marketing of yard sign marketing. And I told them both order 300 signs, and they both did. And literally, this is actually just a few weeks apart. One guy put out all his signs, and the other guy put out all his signs. And then literally, the first guy got he probably got 2 calls. He got almost 0 calls from his signs. But the other guy had I think he had over 13 in the first few days, and then the calls kept coming in. And literally, these guys weren't close to each other. They weren't like the next town over. They were a few hours apart. And that just is a perfect example of, listen, it may work. Something may work for you. Something may work for someone else, but it might not work for you. And if something's not working for you, just change your approach. Just keep on changing your approach. If you find you're just not enjoying a process, or it's just a super headache, then you got to do something different to actually get to the success that you're looking for. Because if it's not working, then you got to do something different. For example, I was on the phone with a potential client that's potentially coming into our group here, and he's actually been studying real estate for 8 years. Now, when I say studying, I mean that he, maybe goes to seminars, learning a bunch of stuff, reading, all that kind of stuff, like always on podcasts and videos and YouTube and all that, just reading, and kind of taking small little stabs at real estate. And it's not working for him. He hasn't closed a deal in 8 years. And I said, listen, man, if you don't change your approach to this business, if you don't really say, I got to do something different, I got to change my decisions and do something completely different. And also leading into our next segment, I got to get a role model. I got to get someone who has results. If you don't have a role model in your life and in your business, you're not going to make it in your business. You're not. It's very difficult. You have to have something to look at, something to follow results. Now, it's in your life and in your business. You have to have these role models. It's how we measure. Well, it's how we gain success in our life a lot faster. It's something we look up to. It's something we admire. Actually, you probably already have a role model even before you even got into this industry. You probably heard somebody talk about real estate investing, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I want to do what he's doing, right? That's a role model, right? And you just have to learn to duplicate that. And by the way, take a look at the picture here. You see the pictures and videos that I've been using in this presentation are all from Azores, from Portugal, the islands of the Azores. This is São Miguel. And that's literally clouds that are hovering over the hills. Those are not mountains, by the way. Those are just hills. And those are the clouds just rushing through. It's absolutely the most beautiful thing. And on the previous picture, on the previous slide, that's one of the beaches, but right here is a rainbow that I captured. I took all these pictures, by the way, and that's just a rainbow. You'll see those all the time on the island. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's go back to role models. Role models is really important, where you find someone who is already getting the results that you want. They already have the results. They're already doing it, right? You just have to find out how they're doing it. Right? Just duplicate what they're doing. Copy and paste, right? You want to do the same damn thing. I love that. The same damn thing that they're doing, and you'll get the same results. Most people, I think what happens is they may feel like, and I hear this all the time, is they're afraid to copy someone because they're like, oh, I don't want to take away from what they're doing, right? Or I don't want them to think like, oh, I'm just, copying everything they do, or I don't want them to think I'm, and you know where that mindset comes from? School. It does. Actually, what happens is the school system, unfortunately, trains children to not cheat by looking at other people's tests. So cheating is copying. Listen to me very carefully. In school, when you copy someone, it's considered cheating and you get reprimanded, you go to the principal's office. Nobody likes that feeling. So it's like when you try to get the right answer from someone else, then it's considered cheating. But in the real world, when you copy successful people, you actually get the same results they get. It's actually called success. Do you see what I'm saying here? Now, I'm not this presentation. What I'm sharing with you in this training today is not about how to fix our education systems around the world. They're designed that way for a reason. Let it be. You are not a part of that. You are part of here, this community right here. So you have to get different education, right? You have to change your mindset a little bit. You have to tweak a few switches up there. So, because we're naturally brought up this way, we're naturally through our school and education system, we're learned that, hey, if you got to work hard and all that, you got to work hard, got to study, yes, but don't cheat off someone else's paper. Now, of course, cheating is bad in general in life as a whole, right? You don't want to cheat in someone in business, right? You don't want to shortchange anybody, right? That's not cool. That's not fun. They'll put you out of business eventually. However, when it comes to copying and duplicating someone's success, you do want to copy them. You want to, if you see someone is doing something very well, you want to maybe copy their attributes, maybe copy their character, copy their business model, right? There are things. Now, you don't have to copy everything 100%, right? But you have to copy to a point and just tweak it, just make it a little bit different. We've seen this time and time again. This is nothing new. We've seen this with McDonald's, where Burger King copied McDonald's and just tweaked it, made it a little different. We've seen this with Starbucks, Giant or Walmart's, right? We see this with I'm giving you examples of really big companies. We see this with Amazon, right? Amazon copied Alibaba, right? We see this with all different businesses, is where you copy the success, but you tweak it, make it just a little bit different, make it unique to you. So that's where you come in as a person, as a unique entrepreneur, as a unique business owner. You make your brand, your uniqueness to you, your voice, your message, your brand, right? And that's really important, but you still have those role models to help you and guide you through where you're going and what you're trying to achieve. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to do that, because it will just take you a lot longer to get to where you're trying to go. The fastest way to get results in your business, the fastest way is to have a role model and a coach. It's the fastest way to get there. Literally, coaching and role models is only for speed. Now, some people that I've worked with, I'll tell you what, I have clients who I've worked with, and they were in the program for maybe 4 months and didn't close a deal, right? And that's normal, right? See, sometimes if you think about it this way, look at it this way. Sometimes I remember I had a client who anticipated he was going to get a deal in like 2 months, okay? He was anticipating he was going to get a deal, and then he got that deal in 4 months. I'm talking about the same person. So he got a deal in 4 months. Now, what happened if he didn't hire me as a coach? What happened if he didn't? Could it have taken him 4 years? It could have, absolutely. I've seen that all the time, right? So it could have taken him a lot longer, but he sped up the process maybe by 3 years and so many months. Maybe he sped up the process that way. However, sometimes people feel like, oh, if I made this decision and I took this action and I made this investment, I'm going to get results quickly. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. Okay, everything takes time, but you do speed up the process when you have coaches and role models in your life. So make sure you have some. All right. And I want you to think about this. I know I got my volume here on loud here. I want you to think about this. It's impossible to fail as long as you learn something from what you do. That's a very powerful statement. It's impossible to fail as long as you learn something from what you do. That means you can't fail. In a way, there's no such thing as failure, right? And again, we're going to go back to our school system, right? The way we were brought up, the way we were educated in the school system is when you got the F, when you failed, you're a loser. You're like not good enough, right? You see that school system mentality is you lost, like you're an idiot, right? However, in the real world, it's failure leads to lessons. There's a book out there, I forgot the name, I forgot who wrote the book, but it's called Failing Forward. And really, the reality is when you fail at things, it helps you to learn from those mistakes. And the faster you can fail, the faster you fail, the more you learn and the faster you go. Now, I'm not talking about complete failure and losing everything you have and bankruptcy. I'm not talking that kind of, detrimental failure where you completely lose everything. I'm not talking about that high risk kind of stuff. I'm not talking about casinos here, anyway, that roll the dice kind of life. No, I'm talking about failures can be daily small failures. Like, I'll give you an example. Something small that is common is maybe you have your list of things to do that you want to get done today, but you didn't get them done today, so you failed today. It's not really a failure, right? I want to make my point here. You didn't fail, you just didn't get around to doing it, and why not? For example, have you ever had something on your to-do list, but you never got to it? Right? And you kept procrastinating. Well, that's something you need to think about is why are you procrastinating on those items on your to-do list? Why is that not being achieved? Those are the questions. Again, remember what we said back in the first slide is if what you're doing is not working, then change your approach. You have to change your approach in that matter, right? So there's no such thing as failure. Maybe in the old school system there is, but in life and what we're doing and in real estate business, there is no such thing as failure. And that's really what you do in this real estate business is as you're learning about real estate, you earn at the same time. Right? And if you're not earning yet in your real estate business, if you've never made any money, like $0 in your real estate business, then you need to let me know. I really want to know if you haven't made any money in real estate. You can throw it in the comment section below, or you can shoot me a private message. Just say, hey, Nathan, just want to be honest with you. I haven't made any money in real estate yet. What can I do? Please help me, right? Whatever it is. I want to know from you if you haven't made any money in real estate. And that's really important to me because I'll tell you what, just like I told one of these potential clients that I talked to early in the week that he hasn't closed a deal in 8 years, I said, man, I can't sleep at night. That's what I told him. I said, I can't sleep at night if you haven't closed a deal in 8 years. That bothers me. It bothers me so much because now doing a deal myself is... when you do it, it's like, yeah, whatever. Let's like, okay, it's just another deal. But when you actually help someone who has never done a deal before and they have like this amazing life transformational experience and they actually earn money while they're doing it, that is like phenomenal. And I literally have a voice message from my buddy Gary, who literally just said the same thing to me. He said, man, there's no greater feeling than helping someone who, maybe previously couldn't tie their shoelaces and now they're doing better and they're making money. That's exactly the juice that I get every morning that's what Fearless Millionaire is all about, is helping people have that breakthrough, gain that clarity, build that confidence, and get that cash flow and completely change their life. That is what this is all about. So I encourage you to follow some of these key things that this ultimate success formula. I encourage you to take action on this and really evaluate yourself. And again, if you have never closed a real estate deal in your business before, then I want you to let me know. Okay. That's really important to me that you let me know if you have not done that.